Racial discrimination. You know what racial discrimination is? Racial discrimination is when you deny someone their rights that others have because of pigmentation. And this is my official complaint to the Ontario Human Rights in reference to CP24, CFTO, CBC, 680 News, the Toronto Sun, and all Toronto media. This complaint is filed by Toronto mayoral candidate Kevin Mark Clark, a man who is a 5-time candidate for Toronto mayor. That's not news. He's a 5-time candidate for mayor. He's 50 years old, 54 years old. The only man in Canadian history who has ever faced 3 levels of government simultaneously: municipal mayor, provincial member of parliament, federal member of parliament. That was done in June of 2014. Yeah, 150 years old, Canada. So he's faced all 3 levels of government at the same time. That's not news. He's an ex-con, ex-drug dealer, ex-pimp, ex-homeless man, the most wrongfully arrested man in the history of the city of Toronto. That's not news? Well, when Kevin Clark ran for the mayor of East York, and he was talking about being a pimp, a drug dealer, and all that, the media jumped. Did you not? Did you not put him on page 2 of the Toronto Sun? Promoting ex-pimp, ex-drug dealer. Yes, that was a negative light. And Kevin Clark is a dark-skinned man. So the media jumped. This is in 1994. 2004, 2014, that's 23 years ago. His first campaign for mayor. You add him on the second page of the Toronto Sun. He was news. Why? Because you were referring to this colored man in a negative light, as a pimp and as a drug dealer and a derelict in society. So you jumped on that. Well, it's 23 years later. And 23 years later, I made Canadian history. Faced 3 levels of government simultaneously, which no one has ever done in this country. 23 years later, I form a political party in Ontario, one of only 20 political parties in this province. And now I lead that political party. You say, where is the discrimination? Clear discrimination. In October or November of 2017, the allegation will read that Doug Ford, a one-time mayoral candidate who is not even a one-time mayoral candidate because he only ran in half an election, was publicized in all these Toronto media as running for mayor. Doug Ford was given enormous amount of public advertising to build his name in the public so the public knew he was running for mayor. But for the past 3 years and 6 other campaigns, Kevin Clark has entered the race for mayor and has sent release to all Toronto media. But yet, not once has the media contact Mr. Clark and says, Mr. Clark, you're a Canadian citizen. You have the rights as everyone else to be heard. We want to hear what your campaign is about so the public can hear it. Let the public decide whether your campaign of investing in humanity, feeding the hungry, housing the homeless, standing up to abuse of authority, enforcing children's rights, protecting the seniors in this city, seeing that we have safe streets, safe parks, and seeing that we have a safe society to live in. Nah, those are not issues. That is not for the media to decide. And there's no media in this city that can say those are not the issues that affect the people of the city of Toronto. So let's get back to this allegation. So we hear about Doug Ford. And now the media is promoting Doug Ford all across the media. He is now running for leadership of the PC party. Hold it. Doug Ford is a one-time mayoral candidate. Kevin Clark is a 5-time mayoral candidate. Doug Ford is running for the leader of the PC party. Kevin Clark is already the leader of a provincial political party. So Doug Ford has one-fifth the mayoral experience as the dark-skinned man Kevin Clark. Doug Ford is chasing the leadership of a political party when Kevin Clark is already the leader of a political party. So you tell me, why would the Toronto media not tell the people about Kevin Clark? Only one reason. Because Doug Ford is a Caucasian. And he seems to be given extra rights, just as many other Caucasians I was supposed to face over the past 5 campaigns. But yet each time, the Toronto media put a perennial fringe candidate label on Kevin Clark, the most experienced and qualified candidate in the race for mayor. The only man in Canadian history who has ever faced 3 levels of government simultaneous. An ex-con, ex-drug dealer, ex-pimp, ex-crackhead, who now runs children outreach services, homeless hunger feed out, who goes out there and defend the public's rights day by day. And how do we know that is clear discrimination by the Toronto media? Because there's no one in their right mind can tell you that this is not news and this man is not overqualified to face his opponent. The only disqualification I have is the pigmentation of my skin. And that is the disgrace of this undemocratic discrimination by the medias in the city of Toronto. And I ask the Ontario Human Rights to immediately investigate this matter. I have bust my butt for over 20 years. I have faced the biggest politicians in your province, from Bob Ray to Jack Layton to Dennis Mills to Rob Ford to Mel Lastman. So how the hell can you, the media of Toronto, tell me that I am disqualified from you letting the public know that I am a candidate for mayor because of the pigmentation of my skin? Because I'll tell you one thing, any Caucasian, any Asian who has half, not even less than half, the qualifications I have and what I have done in the past 25 plus years in this city and this province, you would have them on the highest pedestal. 5-time mayoral candidate, interim leader of an Ontario provincial political party, the only man in Canadian history to have ever faced 3 levels of government simultaneously, a man who has faced Jack Layton, Bob Ray, Mel Lastman, David Miller, Rob Ford, Barbara Hall, your biggest politicians in this land. And you will say that a man who has ran in half an election had more rights to be heard by the public than a dark-skinned man who has done things in this country that is politically impossible. But now we know that it was not politically impossible because I have done them. I have faced 3 levels of government simultaneously. I have formed a political party from being a homeless man and now lead that political party. I'm also the chief financial officer of that political party. So you're telling me because of the pigmentation of the skin, which I had no control over, and hey, I will not change it. It is time for the media to change their ways. You do not promote people of dark skin only when it's in a negative light. When they do extremely positive things, as I have done, then you see that their rights are in force. And let the people decide, is he qualified? Not the media. God is with us. Live and let live. And remember, truth, honesty, hard work, that's the hope that gives you opportunity to build prosperity. And then we can come together as one humanity. That's Kevin Clark.